Thank you for that, Emma. Also wanted to thank you for your opening remarks, which was most of my first slide. But it is great to hear people like Emma in the industry talking about the Sustainable Wine Growing Program. That's a highlight for me and my team to hear how proud they are of the program as well. So, as per the introduction, my name is Justine Tate. I work for New Zealand Wine Growers, and I am the business manager for the Sustainable Wine Growing Program in New Zealand, also known as SWINS. So I'll be saying SWINS a lot during this presentation, but the acronym's fairly well known here in New Zealand and much easier to say every time than Sustainable Wine Growing New Zealand. This morning I'm going to talk to you about the SWINS program and also about our new initiative, the SWINS CI program, the SWINS Continuous Improvement. I think that's most of the acronyms out of the way so that you should be able to understand the rest of the presentation. I also think it's really important to note that we're not claiming to be perfect or to have achieved the holy grail of sustainability, but just to share some of our thinking and our approach to sustainability. So a little bit of history on SWINS. The SWINS program started over 20 years ago within a new and forward-thinking New Zealand wine industry. Now over that 20 years, the program has evolved and it's become pretty sophisticated in terms of the sustainability content that's in the program. Our objectives for the program are very clear and very simple. We want to ensure that we can continue to make high quality and distinctive wines. We want to continue to export those wines internationally, and we want to produce them efficiently, as well as growing the sustainability of our wine industry. And the clarity of these objectives provides a focus that is really easy to work to. It's really easy for me and my team to work the program to these objectives. And when I think about how clear and simple they are, I think you would pay a consultancy company probably hundreds of thousands of dollars to come up with the clarity of our objectives. And the thing about these objectives is that they're actually the original objectives for the program when it was started over 20 years ago. And it's really notable that they are still relevant today and that we still work to those objectives today. So 20 years ago, we were focused on enhancing the sustainability of the industry, and that continues today. Importantly, we not only have an industry sustainability program, we also have an industry sustainability policy. And for me, that's where the industry really demonstrates again its commitment to sustainability. And this is quite a busy slide, but there are two parts to this. So first of all, we'll focus on the first top half of the slide. This is the New Zealand Wine Growers Sustainability Policy. I've paraphrased it because it's a policy, so it couldn't possibly be as short and simple as this. But this really is the key part. So all wines taking part in New Zealand wine grower events must be sustainably certified. And that means 100% of the grapes that are used in the wine must be certified as sustainable. And it also means that 100% of the wine processing facilities, so processing, winemaking in the winery and bottling, must also be certified as sustainable. And the purpose of this policy is really to show our commitment to sustainability, and it enables us to provide assurance to the trade, to the media, to our consumers and to any other stakeholders of our sustainability claims and the claims that we are making about the sustainability of our wines. I think importantly, the policy also recognises that there's more than one way to reach the mountaintop of sustainability. So it does promote all sustainability programs, and that is the organics, the biodynamics as well, not just promoting the SWINS program. And as New Zealand Wine Growers is involved in the organisation of this ISBC event, you can rest assured that everything that you will be tasting across the 3 days of your conference meets the New Zealand Wine Growers sustainability policy. So the entire New Zealand wine industry is really proud of New Zealand's reputation in sustainability. It's a key focus in how we promote the industry internationally. And this slide really encapsulates some of the key achievements from our SWINS members this is from the 2016 growing season. And this information is directly from our members, collated through the SWINS program. So the first two really focus on water, with wineries and vineyards ensuring that they measure, monitor and optimise their water use, with 96% of wineries measuring and recording their use, and 98% of vineyards using monitoring techniques to optimise their water applications. The third one focuses on byproducts. So over 92,000 cubic metres of byproducts was diverted from landfill during that growing season. So that's through our members using reuse or recycling programs that are available to them. And the last one there on the slide is 2,500 hectares set aside for biodiversity protection from vineyards and wineries. And that ranges from habitats for bees with wildflower meadows, plantings of native species, and right through to some of our vineyards and wineries who are undertaking full restoration of wetland areas, which is just fantastic. I also have another statistic there on the bottom of that slide, and that is that 98% of New Zealand's producing vineyard area is certified as sustainable under the SWINS program. Now people usually ask me about the 2%, so I'm going to answer that. And there's 2 points here to that statistic. So firstly, SWINS is an audited program, and people do fail, which means that they are not accredited. But that's not to say that 2% of SWINS members fail. As here in New Zealand, we also have around 6 to 7% of producing hectares that are certified as organic. And I do know that when you add 98% and 7%, you get more than 100%. But the answer to that one is that there is quite often a crossover between our organically certified vineyards and SWINS, with some of those vineyards holding both of those certifications at the same time. But not to take away from that statistic that we're really proud of, and that is that through the program, our program, the SWINS program, 98% of the producing vineyard hectares are certified. So that leads me to the current status of where we are. SWINS has achieved a lot in 20 years. Pretty much every wine-producing country has a sustainability program these days. Some wish that they had one, but actually have more than one, like Australia and California. And SWINS has really reached an enviable position. So we have an established framework for our members to articulate their sustainability achievements. We have near full industry participation, which allows us to adapt industry behaviour fairly quickly, and a lot of data and information available for analysis. We have good brand equity in the SWINS logo, and with many of our eligible wines using it on their labels and packaging. And we have a really good system based on science and research to base the program criteria on. However, standing still means being overtaken, and so we need to be continuously improving. We started to think about what objectives we should have for the next 10 to 20 years. And when we spoke with our members, many of them wanted to do more than SWINs, and there were some that were already doing more than SWINs that wanted recognition for that. Really importantly, they wanted the same rigour as SWINs around their sustainability achievements above and beyond the program, and so that they could use that verification in their brand stories. So if, for example, a winery was stating that they'd reduced their energy use by 10% or 20% or was using 60% renewable energy sources, they wanted that independently verified through a process. And that led us on a journey to think about our next big audacious sustainability goals for the industry in the next 20 to 30 years' time, and to gather together best practice for industry to follow to get there. That culminated in our SWINS Continuous Improvement, or SWINS CI program, and that is an extension to the existing SWINS program. So in order to be a part of it, you need to already be achieving the SWINS standard. It's based on the SWINS pillars of sustainability, and I have the pillars up there on the slide, mostly for you, but a little bit for me to remember them all as well. Each pillar also has an aspirational industry goal, and we've been very audacious about how we've set these industry goals. For example, under the waste management pillar, we've set an industry goal of zero waste to landfill, which I think you will agree is a big goal to achieve. Now, we don't know when we're going to get there, whether that'll be 10, 20 or 30 years' time, but important to have that set out there. Guides have been developed around all these pillars, and where appropriate, the guides also include an organic pathway to achieving that goal. This collates organic standards and best practice, any resources and organic literature on the subject matter, and it really does recognise the synergies between those two approaches, sustainability and organics. So SWINS CI really puts sustainability in the hands of our members. Members set their own goals and their own timeframes, and the SWINS CI program provides guidance around that and verifies those achievements. It's really early days for the program, but some great things are already starting to emerge that we're really excited about. Groups are developing to discuss industry issues and solutions, and that's what we really wanted to occur. So, for example, around that waste management pillar, our members are already collaborating. They're organising themselves and meeting together to share their waste streams and identify the issues in their waste streams, and they're joining together to tackle their shared supply chains to try and reduce packaging and encourage recycling packaging. So as they're sharing those challenges and ideas, then that activity will lead to the industry actually being able to achieve that audacious goal of zero waste to landfill in 10 years' time, or 20 years' time, or 30 years' time, or whatever that may be. And finally, because I have run out of time, that leads me to our final slide today around our sustainability focus for the future. So the question we have asked ourselves is, what are the compelling sustainability issues for the New Zealand wine industry over the next 10 years? And New Zealand Wine Growers' focus is going to be in these 5 areas, and I think we've heard these words with several of the presenters just prior to me, but those are water, waste, people, climate change, and pest and disease. So overall, in terms of sustainability, if we say our modern wine industry is coming up for 50 years old, we want to be producing high quality, distinctive wines sustainably for the next 50 years and beyond. By doing that, we can be seen as a valuable part of the New Zealand community, the global wine community, and as good global citizens. When I'm asked what sustainability means to the New Zealand wine industry, I think that story is best told by our members. There are several videos on our website that you can go and have a look at, but my suggestion would be that you ask them yourselves. So as you are out and about in the vineyards and wineries and meeting people in the industry, then please ask them what sustainability means to them and the industry.